Hey TJ, we're going to take a look at your week 1 assignment 3 and also take a look real quick at your assignment 4. Jumping right into assignment 3, I thought you did a really good job with this assignment with the technique. It's definitely feeling very clean, and your edge quality and the drawing that you've made of the shapes initially, and then how you've used the marker to kind of follow along with that drawing, looks really good. The shapes are crisp, they're clean, they're symmetrical, they have nice sharp edges, nice sharp corners, and even the circular ones are, I think, pretty well done overall. I think for me the only kind of issue is within the blind, at least, is just a couple of these areas where I think you're starting a stroke and then you kind of quit halfway, and you start to get these darker areas. They're pretty few and far between. Some of them are the result of, I think, a little bit of an extra overlap, but in other cases it looks like kind of either the consistency of your stroke, maybe you're going at a certain pace and then you just kind of slowed down a little bit and a little bit too much ink got into the page and then you sped up again. I think it definitely goes away because you start to get into a good rhythm with it. And I would say really overall, especially some of the really long shapes like this rectangle, you've done a great job. In this large rectangle, you've done a great job of just dealing with that entire large area pretty consistently with the blind. The side to side looks very good. I'd say there's just a few spots here and there where you could definitely get a little bit more saturation into the paper because you notice a darker, very dark area and a lighter area. It doesn't happen in every one of the shapes. I think this violet shape is good overall. This blue one is definitely very good, and the majority of the gray shapes are good, but there are a few areas where I think a little bit more saturation could be made. But you're doing a good job with your edges. I think things are very symmetrical. The shapes feel good, and you've got some crisp and clean kind of shapes working here. Good variety of color, although with the grays it'd be nice to have one extra gray to create a variation between this circle and this rectangle in both cases, because they tend to blend into each other. The colored pencil, the cubes, I think I'm not sure what this is, what's going on here with the white, but I think you're working with the cubes well. I think for me, one things that maybe is making it a little bit more difficult is that you're working with two very dark colors to begin with, and I think you might even have a better chance of working and getting better, kind of more impactful results if you use the lighter value color like the violet or maybe even the blue. And then obviously if you work with a blind, you have a better shot at getting a lighter value than you do with the side to side. But this cube is working well in that it has a light, a medium, and a dark side. The brown cube is also, I think, working out well, but I will say that I think this color that you've applied here is actually lightening this side, where I think maybe what you were attempting to do is to get it to be darker. And I think using a brown that's similar to the brown that you have, or even a black or a black-brown, can help to darken a value, rather than I think what's here, which kind of looks like a blue to me. But if I take a look at this as a lighter valued one, I kind of almost think of this as the middle and this as the darker value, and I don't think that's the way that it was meant to be. And one of the challenges of using the colored pencil is really figuring out what color pencil works with what colors and how they work. And I think sometimes it's great to have, like this brown, if you put a little bit of a darker orange on top of it, it would still work with the brown, but you get, I think, a much kind of richer, warmer brown than what the marker is. But I think like with the blue, and if there's even a little bit of white in the colored pencil, it's going to show up against these really dark backgrounds which you have here. But the coverage feels good. It feels really good on this side. I feel like it could use just a little more consistency here and a little more consistency in the transition here, where I think you've got this nice layer in place. Could use one more kind of transition between this colored pencil and the marker, but the perspective feels pretty good. I think you could try and work on edge quality a little bit, but it's still hanging in there, and you have the definite kind of value stuff down, which is the big part of this assignment.